Time for some riveting radio real estate from Jamie Mell, and good morning to you.
Good morning.
Morning.
It is, we're springing forward this weekend.
We are.
So we're changing the clocks, and things are moving fast here, and now is a great opportunity. It's always a great opportunity, but now is a good opportunity to start stepping back, taking off maybe your rose-colored glasses of your own home and how wonderful you think it is, and look to spruce things up a bit in the efforts of selling. Is that right?
Yeah. So, you always hear about curb appeal. So now that we're getting out of the winter months and spring's starting to happen, you can kind of feel the spring fever. So getting the yards in order, getting some bark down, making it look nice from the outside. Maintenance-wise, getting those gutters cleaned and the roof cleaned, because a lot of times that's going to come up on an inspection. So if you're getting ready to sell your house, getting the outside dialed in is going to be a great first step.
And you'll see after the winter, of course, maybe there's some fresh moss on your roof that you need to take care of. And I had to go up on my roof. Well, it was the dead of winter. I had to climb up there because our gutters were full of...
I remember you doing that.
Pine needles.
And it was covered. One of the shingles or something had come off, and it ended up covering the downspout.
Yes.
So it was it was full to the brim of water. It could have been, one of those kind of catastrophics, but clean that out good. And then the other thing I'm noticing in my neighborhood is that a lot of folks are pulling out the old pressure washer.
Yes.
And a little bit more sweat equity on those kind of things. It doesn't take super long, maybe a day, but it really makes a difference.
Oh, it makes a huge difference. Getting that layer of grime from the winter, it makes it all look new again, too.
Mm-hmm.
We had pigeons in California that it was a mess on the tiles, and they just loved our house on the block for some reason. And speaking of curb appeal, we brought in a company to do that and ended up looking nice. But stuff like that, you don't think about necessarily while you're living there, but you're ready to sell.
There are companies that go, and maybe you can do this too on the inside, the staging of homes.
Oh, yes.
When you first meet a new potential client, or someone calls you up and says, it's time for us to list this house, sell it, we're getting out of here or whatever, will you go over and look at the place and from the outside perspective maybe come up with a quick list before you even go inside and say, I hate to tell you this, but 80% of the people are just going to drive right on by your home because ain't nobody going to buy this thing?
There's definitely some, I'm going to say, crucial conversations that have happened.
Yeah.
It's all about just trying to help them get their home in a condition that's going to attract the most eyes, get the buyers so that it sells quickly for the highest amount of money. It's definitely can be uncomfortable at times.
Sure. But I understand that, and anybody would probably take it personally. Again, it's their home, it's their castle,
exactly.
And things like that. But again, you're trying to get the most money for them.
Trying to help them.
And things like that. What about signs that you have, or if you've got a strange colored front door or things like that?
Yeah. So I'll definitely talk to them about things that they maybe aren't realizing, if it's just too bright of a color or if it's an off-putting color, talking about muting down to natural colors. So interior paint is a big one. Sometimes you have these big, bold walls that people have put in. Getting them to realize that might actually turn a buyer off, and they potentially could walk in and be like, oh, it's a red wall again, and out they go. So getting some of that stuff just toned down to appeal to more people than the select number that it might appeal to.
What about political signs in your yard?
I think that it's probably a good idea to not have those up while you're trying to sell. Just my opinion. I think politics
too,
and that just kind of keep it separate.
Even if the person, the likelihood that you'll ever even, if you're going to buy this home and it's got some sign out front, the likelihood that you'll ever actually even run into these people is very slim, right?
Slim,
you're not going to see them, but it just that initial impression, makes all the difference.
Well, you could potentially be turning away
half of the
your
people.
So
What if it's in the contract you have to keep the sign up during the election?
It's in there in the fine print. Got to keep it up through the election or something like that. That's funny.
that would be good.
How long would it take? What's an average amount of time it takes for a prospective home lister to get everything all spruced up? I mean, if they want to say this market is hot, and I'm willing to forego some of the money that we could potentially make down the road just to get it listed, just to get it out of here.
Yeah.
Do you say, well, wait a second. If you can take care of this, this, and this, it may take 3 weeks, but here's the potential return on that.
Definitely. I always encourage people when they're getting ready to list, let's get it in the best possible shape, without spending a ton of money if that's not in their plans.
Mm-hmm.
So the main thing, cleanliness and pre-packing. So getting that kind of stuff ready to go, I'm always recommending that. You want to depersonalize the house, and really you can have a house that has bold colors and this and that. As long as it's clean, it's the biggest thing, I think,
Sure.
in my personal opinion. There's nothing worse than walking into a home that feels dingy and doesn't have a great smell, that kind of stuff. So if you can get past some of those barriers, I think you're already ahead of the game.
We noticed that when we were shopping for a house a couple of years ago, coming into the area, some of the houses we were astonished. Beautiful houses, otherwise staged nicely, but the smell of animals or something that they couldn't get out, or maybe smokers or something. What do you recommend people do in those cases? Because that killed the deals for us. We loved the house, the layout, the location, but we could not even focus on what we were looking at with the smell being so pungent. Do you recommend at that point deep professional cleaning, or are there ways of getting that masked for showing the house?
And not so much masked, but you can actually bring in these machines that you can run in that will kind of clean the air. So as long as it's clean, if they can't get it, then definitely bringing in a professional cleaning crew to get in the nooks and crannies and things. But there are ways, I can't remember the name but they're like these little machines you just bring in, plug in, and it cleans the air.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. It works really well for
Ozone,
smoke and pet. It depends. If there's carpet in the house, then a local carpet cleaning company that can do like an enzyme kind of a spray to help kill that stuff. But
I think too, the other one that you may miss just because you don't, it changes over time is your windows.
yes.
You may look out your window and you go, well, I could see out my window. but until, and this happens to us, like we'll clean our windows that we don't look at it once a year, maybe. It's spring. All right, let's clean the windows.
Yep.
The difference between a clean window and a visible look-through window is huge. And when you're looking for natural light or just someone imagining as they look out their backyard or something like that, that's a big one, and that's easy.
It's easy one. It's cheap.
And
it does make a huge difference. Another thing, if you're getting ready to sell your home and you have windows that maybe have the broken sill, so they are like foggy in between the two panes, getting those addressed ahead of time is going to save some time in the transaction. It's something that an appraiser is going to call out, so that's a good point.
What about, here's a question for you. My in-laws just sold their house in a couple days in Northern California in Sonoma County, and I know there's areas where it's hotter than others. Things like bidding wars are a norm in hotter markets, maybe like Seattle, something goes up and you have 10 bidders, in the first hour. What is your recommendation? If someone's selling a house, they get an offer, jump on it? Do you wait like the weekend? Do you wait to see if other offers come in to counteroffer it to get the best price, or a bird in the hand's worth two in the bush? What do you recommend with stuff like that?
I definitely believe that it's a case-by-case scenario. If we have already listed at the top of the market price and we get an offer within the first week, I think we should definitely go for it. If we have done the strategic plan to list like the middle of the market to the lower end to try to get as many offers as possible, then we're going to wait it out a little while to see what we can get and potentially hope for a highest and best situation. So it really, it's case by case.
And how fast they want to sell.
And how fast they want to sell, and what kind of a strategy we went in with.
Sure.
I've asked this question since Dawn and Chrissy, I think, over the years, but I haven't heard your answer to this. Would you recommend having a home inspection before you list? Because they're going to do another home inspection, but if you can clear up some of those things on the onset?
I My personal opinion is no. Don't worry about getting the home inspection. You've been living in the home, so you're already going to have a great idea on what is potentially an issue. And if there are issues, go ahead and get those addressed ahead of time. Some things that I always recommend to sellers is, go ahead and get your septic pumped and inspected if needed. And then your HVAC system, have that serviced. So any of those things that you can get done ahead of time that you're not going to have a hiccup in the sale process is going to be helpful. There's a whole bunch of reasons why I don't recommend getting the home inspection, and that is because it could drum up something that they're going to have to disclose that they didn't even know about. So
okay.
it kind of
Interesting.
It'll all come out in the wash,
Sure.
right?
Well, one of the next times you come in here, we should talk about after or you've got your offer and then you're starting to work on maybe that negotiation, those final little bits, and what folks can leave in the house and what they
Yes.
can take with them.
That would be great.
I feel like when we got our house, they had a pretty nice washer and dryer in there, and so we either asked for it to stay or we had it written up to stay, and then that's a whole nother negotiating.
Yes, that's
platform.
a huge topic that I would love to get
Yeah.
into, because it's something that I feel like a lot of people don't fully understand, and some agents just kind of quickly glide over that.
Sure.
So we'll get into that next
And
time.
you don't want to fall in love with this house and you get the keys and you walk in and there's no fridge.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Those are the things to pay attention to, for sure.
Jamie, good to see you.
Thank you, guys.
You have a
Happy
great
Friday.
weekend. Happy Friday
Likewise.
indeed.